Beloved soul, pause for a moment. Breathe. Feel the stillness around you right now. This moment you are in was not placed here by accident. You did not wander into these words, you were gently guided, timed, seen. Something within you sensed it before your mind could explain it, that quiet pull, that feeling of this is for me. And you were right. I speak to you because you are ready to hear, not because you are perfect, not because you have everything figured out, but because your heart has been listening through the noise. This vision arriving now is a confirmation, a soft but certain whisper that you are moving, internally, spiritually, and soon in ways you can see. You have been noticed. You are not forgotten. You are standing in a moment of alignment, and the air around you carries meaning meant only for you, my dear one. My precious soul, there have been whispers moving through you long before this moment arrived. Not loud enough to startle you, not sharp enough to demand attention, but persistent, patient, and true. They came as feelings you could not name, as pauses in your spirit, when the world expected you to rush forward. You felt them in quiet moments, when the noise faded and your inner world gently stirred. Something inside you kept saying, "Look again, listen more closely." You noticed how certain places no longer felt welcoming, how conversations that once flowed now felt heavy or hollow. You may have wondered why your energy shifted without explanation, why your enthusiasm dimmed around things you once chased so fiercely. This was not exhaustion alone, this was awareness awakening. A part of you was signaling that you had reached the edge of a season that could no longer hold you. There were nights when rest did not fully come, even though your body was tired. Your mind drifted, replaying small moments, subtle choices, quiet regrets, not to punish you, but to guide you. These thoughts were invitations, asking you to reconsider the direction you were facing. And during the day, there were moments of sudden stillness, when your breath caught for no clear reason, when your heart felt both uneasy and hopeful at the same time. That strange combination was not confusion. It was anticipation mixed with truth. You may have dismissed these signs, telling yourself you were imagining things, that you should be grateful for what you have, that change could wait. And yet, my dear one, the feelings returned. They always do when they carry meaning. They returned as a sense of being slightly out of place, even in familiar surroundings, as a quiet sadness that arrived without a story attached to it, as a longing for something undefined but deeply felt. These were not flaws in you, they were messages shaped like emotions. Notice how your intuition tried to protect you, not with fear, but with discomfort. When something was misaligned, you felt resistance. When a path was not meant to continue, motivation slowly drained away. You were not failing, you were being redirected. Inner resistance is often misunderstood as weakness, but in truth, it is wisdom refusing to cooperate with what no longer serves your becoming. There were also gentle warnings disguised as delays, plans that did not unfold as expected, opportunities that looked perfect but never quite settled into place. At times you may have felt frustrated, even doubting yourself. But those pauses were mercy. They were space being created, so you would not commit to what would eventually constrain you. Life was slowing you down so your spirit could catch up. Listen closely now. Not every warning comes with urgency. Some arrive wrapped in softness, asking for reflection rather than reaction. You were given time to notice patterns, to feel the repetition of certain lessons, to recognize what kept resurfacing. The same emotions, the same doubts, the same quiet question, is this really where I am meant to stay? That question itself was sacred. Even your body spoke when words failed. Tension where there was once ease. Fatigue that sleep could not fix. A need for solitude that surprised you. Were signals asking you to turn inward, to honor what you were sensing, instead of pushing through it. Your inner world has always been loyal to you. It does not betray you, it informs you. And yet, you kept going. Because you are strong. Because you are responsible. Because you did what was expected. But strength without alignment becomes heavy. Responsibility without meaning becomes draining. Your soul began to ask for something different. Not more effort, but more truth. Not more endurance, but more honesty with yourself. Something is shifting now, and you can feel it more clearly than before. The signs are no longer faint, they are calm but unmistakable. A sense of readiness mixed with nervousness. A desire to simplify, to clear space, to breathe more freely. This is the signal that the inner warnings have done their work. You have been prepared gently, gradually, lovingly. Do not judge yourself for taking time to recognize them. Awakening is not a race. You heard what you were ready to hear when you were ready to hear it, and now you are here, aware, present, open. The unease you once felt is transforming into clarity. The restlessness is turning into resolve. Hold this understanding close, beloved. These inner signs were not meant to scare you, they were meant to guide you toward what is next. They were confirmations in disguise, ensuring that when you move with awareness rather than regret. You are not late. You are precisely where you need to be to recognize the shift that has already begun. My beloved, while you were watching the surface of your life, something far deeper was unfolding beneath it. Even in moments that felt still, nothing was truly stagnant. Threads were being woven quietly, patiently, beyond what your eyes could see. Destiny rarely announces itself with noise. It moves like breath, steady, unseen, essential, and it has been moving around you for longer than you realize. There were prayers you released long ago, some spoken aloud, others whispered only in your heart. You may have forgotten the exact words, but the intention behind them never faded. Those intentions did not disappear into silence. They were received, held, and answered in ways that required time and careful alignment. What you asked for could not arrive until you became someone able to receive it without losing yourself. So the answer came slowly, shaped as preparation rather than reward. You wondered why certain things fell apart just as they seemed close, why momentum dissolved at the last moment, why paths you were sure about suddenly redirected you elsewhere. These were not mistakes or miscalculations, they were gentle corrections. Some doors closed because walking through them would have delayed your true becoming. Other doors remained unopened, because you were still gathering the inner strength required to walk through them with confidence instead of fear. Behind every delay was protection you could not yet name. Behind every redirection was care disguised as confusion. You were being guided away from what would have limited you and toward what would stretch you, without breaking you. Destiny does not rush the soul. It waits until readiness and opportunity can meet without harm. There were seasons when you felt invisible, as if your efforts went unnoticed, as if nothing was responding to your faith or persistence. But silence is often a sign of deep work being done out of sight. Roots grow in darkness before anything dares to rise into the light. During those quiet times, your resilience was strengthening, your discernment sharpening, your sense of self deepening. You are becoming grounded enough to stand in a larger truth. Consider how certain people entered your life briefly, teaching you something essential before leaving. How others stayed longer than expected, revealing lessons through contrast and reflection. None of these encounters were random. Each interaction carried a piece of understanding you needed before moving forward. Destiny teaches through experience, not explanation, and you learned more than you realize. Even your moments of doubt served a purpose. They stripped away illusions, forcing you to confront what you truly wanted versus what you felt obligated to pursue. Doubt refined your desires. It pushed you to ask better questions, to listen more closely to your inner voice instead of external expectations. In questioning yourself, you found a deeper honesty, and that honesty became a compass. The unseen alignment happening now is not sudden. It is the result of countless small shifts accumulating over time. Your values have changed. Your tolerance for misalignment has lessened. Your desire for authenticity has grown stronger than your need for approval. These inner movements are signals that the outer world is preparing to reflect who you have become, not who you once were. What approaches you carries weight and meaning. It is not merely a change of circumstance, but a shift in how you inhabit your own life. That is why timing mattered so deeply. You needed to arrive here with clarity rather than desperation, with openness rather than expectation. The unseen movement was ensuring that when change comes, it feels like recognition instead of shock. Trust that what unfolds next will make sense in hindsight, even if it feels mysterious now. Destiny often reveals itself backwards. You will look back and see how every pause, every detour, every unanswered question contributed to this moment of readiness. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was overlooked. And now, my dear one, the quiet alignment is nearing completion. The inner and outer worlds are drawing closer together. What you feel stirring inside you is a response to what is preparing to meet you. Stay present. Stay receptive. What has been moving unseen is about to make itself known, not with force, but with clarity. Hold this truth gently. You were never forgotten during the waiting. You were being formed. And what is forming, its way toward you arrives not to disrupt your life, but to finally allow it to unfold as it was always meant to. My dear one, you have arrived at a moment that carries more weight than it appears. It does not announce itself with urgency or demand, yet it asks something very real of you. This is a turning point, not because everything must change at once, but because something within you has reached clarity. You are no longer unaware. You can no longer pretend you do not feel the pull. Awareness transforms choice into responsibility. And that is why this moment feels tender, heavy, and quietly powerful all at once. You stand between what is familiar and what is calling. The familiar knows your name, your habits, your patterns. It offers predictability and a sense of safety, even if it no longer brings peace. The path ahead feels less certain, but it feels alive. It invites you to grow, to stretch, to trust yourself in ways you have not before. This is not a choice between right and wrong, but between remaining and becoming. Comfort has a gentle voice. It tells you that staying is easier, that you can manage a little longer, that nothing is truly broken. And perhaps it is right, nothing is broken. But something is complete. There is a difference between something being safe and something being aligned. Comfort preserves what exists. Growth creates what does not yet exist. And creation always asks for courage. Fear also has a voice, and it often speaks in questions. What if you fail? What if you regret it? What if you are not ready? Fear does not mean you are weak, it means you are standing at the edge of expansion. Fear appears when the old self cannot fully imagine the lie. The new self is preparing to live. Do not mistake fear for a sign to stop. Often, it is a sign you are close to truth. Delaying this choice may seem gentle, but it carries its own cost. When the heart knows and the mind resists, tension grows, energy begins to leak into doubt, restlessness and quiet dissatisfaction. The longer you ignore what you know, the louder the inner conflict becomes. This is not punishment, it is guidance insisting on honesty. Life grows heavier when you carry what you were meant to set down. This moment does not require you to leap blindly, it asks you to step intentionally. Even a small step in the direction of truth shifts the entire path beneath your feet. You do not need perfect confidence, you need sincerity. A willingness to choose what feels true over what merely feels safe. Remember, you have made difficult choices before. You have survived uncertainty. You have learned from missteps. You are not as fragile as fear would have you believe. This turning point is not here to test you, but to free you. It invites you to claim your agency, to recognize that you are allowed to choose a life that supports your wholeness. You may worry about what others will think, about disappointing expectations, about stepping out of roles you have long inhabited. But your life is not meant to be a performance. It is meant to be an experience lived from within. The people and structures that truly belong with you will adjust to your growth. What cannot adjust was never meant to define you. This choice also carries a quiet promise. On the other side of it is relief. Not because everything will be easy, but because you will no longer be divided against yourself. Alignment brings peace even amid challenge. When your actions match your inner knowing, your energy returns. Clarity replaces confusion. Movement replaces stagnation. Pause here, beloved. Feel into the truth beneath the noise. The choice before you is not asking for haste, but for honesty. You already know which direction leads to expansion. You already feel which path carries life. Trust that knowing. Trust that the courage to choose will rise as soon as you decide to honor yourself. This turning point is sacred because it belongs to you alone. No one else can choose it for you, and no one else can take it away. When you step forward, however gently, you affirm your readiness to live in alignment with who you have become. And that affirmation sends a signal that echoes far beyond this moment, shaping what comes next in ways you will one day recognize with gratitude and awe. My beloved, there comes a sacred moment in every transformation when holding on becomes heavier than letting go. You are standing in that moment now. Not because you have failed, not because something went wrong, but because you have grown. What once fit you gently now presses against your spirit. What once felt like home now feels narrow. This is not loss approaching you. It is space asking to be made. Releasing does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it is quiet, almost invisible. It happens when you stop explaining yourself to those who no longer hear you. When you loosen your grip on routines that drain rather than nourish. When you allow an old version of yourself to rest, instead of forcing it to keep performing. You are not being asked to erase who you were. You are being invited to honor who you are becoming. There may be habits you have carried as comfort, even when they no longer bring peace. Patterns that once protected you but now keep you small. Identities built around survival rather than joy. These were not mistakes, they were necessary chapters. They taught you how to endure, how to adapt, how to stay standing when life felt uncertain. But endurance is not the destination, it is only the bridge. You may feel sadness as you release, and that sadness is sacred. It honors what was real, what mattered, what shaped you. Letting go does not mean it meant nothing, it means it meant enough to be completed. Completion is not rejection, it is fulfillment. When something has given you all it can, holding on longer only delays what is waiting to arrive. There may also be relationships that feel different now. Not broken, but misaligned. Conversations that no longer reach you. Expectations that feel heavy instead of supportive. You are allowed to step back without bitterness. You are allowed to choose peace without explanation. Growth does not always separate people. It simply reveals who can walk with you into the next season and who was meant to walk with you only this far. As you release, notice how your inner world responds. There is a lightness beneath the grief. A quiet relief beneath the fear. This is how you know the release is true. Your soul recognizes when space is being cleared for something aligned. Emptiness is not punishment, it is preparation. An open hand can receive what a clenched fist cannot. You may worry that letting go will leave you unanchored. But what is leaving was never your foundation. Your foundation lives within you, in your values, your intuition, your resilience. Those remain untouched. In fact, they become clearer as distractions fall away. Space reveals truth, silence reveals direction. Do not rush this release. Allow it to unfold gently. Some things will fall away naturally as you stop feeding them with attention and energy. Others may require conscious choice. Either way, you are supported. You are not dismantling your life. You are refining it. You are removing what no longer reflects your inner reality so the outer world can realign. There is something meaningful waiting to meet you, but it requires room. New clarity cannot enter a crowded mind. New joy cannot settle into a heart still clinging to old wounds. New beginnings need space to breathe. What you release now becomes the doorway through which the next chapter arrives. Trust that you are not emptying your life. You are making it spacious. Spacious enough for ease. Spacious enough for truth. Spacious enough for a version of you that no longer has to struggle to belong. What fills that space will not resemble what you released, because you are not the same person who needed those things before. Hold yourself with tenderness in this process. Speak kindly to your past. Thank it for carrying you this far. And then, gently, lovingly, allow it to loosen its hold. You are not abandoning anything essential. You are choosing alignment over attachment. This release is an act of faith, not faith in the unknown, but faith in yourself. Faith that you deserve a life that feels open rather than heavy. Faith that what is meant for you will arrive when there is room to receive it. And that room, my dear one, is being created now. Quietly, intentionally, and with great love. Beloved soul, let your heart soften as you hear this. You are not unguarded, and you have never been alone on this path. Even in moments when you felt unsure, even when the way ahead seemed dim, you were being quietly protected. Not from experience, not from growth, but from harm that would have pulled you away from your true becoming. What has surrounded you is not forceful or loud. It is gentle, constant, and deeply attentive. There is a wisdom that walks with you, closer than breath. It does not shout directions or demand certainty. It speaks through calm knowing, through sudden clarity that settles without argument. You have felt it before in moments when a choice simply felt right. even if you could not explain why. That feeling was not luck. It was guidance flowing through your intuition, reminding you that you carry an inner compass that does not fail you. Protection does not always look like rescue. Sometimes it looks like restraint, like an impulse you did not follow, like words you chose not to say, like a step you hesitated to take. In hindsight, you may recognize how those pauses spared you from paths that would have drained your spirit. What slowed you was not fear, it was care. You were being shielded from what would have distracted you from your deeper purpose. When uncertainty arose, signs appeared, not always as miracles, but as alignments, a message that arrived at the right moment. A conversation that clarified what had been tangled, a feeling of calm that replaced anxiety without warning. These were not coincidences, they were reminders that you are seen, that your movement is noticed, that your sincerity calls forth support. Even now, guidance continues to reach you in subtle ways. Through your body, which tightens when something is wrong and relaxes when something is true. Through your emotions, which signal misalignment before your mind can rationalize it away. Through your inner voice, which grows quieter but clearer the more you listen. This guidance is not external, it rises from within because it has always lived there. You may wonder if you can trust yourself fully, if your intuition is reliable. My dear one, intuition is not impulsive, it is calm, steady, and patient. It does not rush you into decisions, it invites you into alignment. When you feel guided, there is a sense of peace beneath the uncertainty. That peace is your signal. It is the language of inner truth. Protection also comes through strength you do not see until you need it. You have endured more than you ever imagined you could, and each experience sharpened your discernment. You learn to recognize what drains you and what nourishes you. You learn to say no without guilt, to pause without apology, to choose yourself without justification. These are not small victories, they are evidence that guidance has been shaping you from the inside out. When fear tries to convince you that you are vulnerable, remember this: nothing meant for you will require you to abandon yourself. Guidance never asks for self-betrayal, it asks for honesty, patience, and courage. If something demands that you silence your inner knowing, it is not aligned. What is aligned will respect your boundaries and strengthen your sense of self. You are allowed to move forward with trust. Not blind trust, but grounded trust. Trust in your capacity to listen, to adapt, to respond wisely. You are supported not because you are flawless, but because you are sincere. Sincerity opens pathways that force never could. Take comfort in knowing that you do not need to control every outcome. Guidance works best when you remain present rather than predictive, when you stay open instead of rigid, when you allow life to meet you halfway. You are not meant to carry everything alone. Support arrives when you allow space for it. So breathe into this reassurance, precious soul. Let it settle into your body, into your thoughts, into your sense of direction. You are watched over in ways that honor your freedom. You are guided in ways that respect your growth. And you are protected not to keep you small, but to help you become fully, beautifully yourself. Trust the quiet steadiness that surrounds you. It has brought you this far, and it will continue to walk with you, step by step, into whatever unfolds next. My precious one, it is time to remember who you are beneath the layers you learn to wear. Not the versions shaped by expectation, not the selves formed by survival, but the steady presence that has endured through every season of becoming. You did not arrive here by chance. You arrived because something within you refused to disappear, even when life demanded adaptation. That persistence is not accidental, it is your strength revealing itself. There's a pow, our awakening in you now, and it does not look like force or dominance, it looks like clarity, it looks like calm confidence that no longer needs approval. You are beginning to sense your worth not as something to be proven, but as something inherent. This shift changes everything. When you know who you are, choices become simpler, boundaries become natural, direction becomes clear. You have underestimated yourself in the past, believing that resilience meant enduring quietly, that humility meant shrinking your needs. But resilience also means knowing when to step forward. Humility also means honoring the gifts you carry without apology. You are not meant to hide what you bring into the world. You are meant to embody it fully, gently, and without fear. Notice how your sense of identity is softening and strengthening at the same time. You are less attached to labels, roles, and external validation. And yet, you are more anchored in your values, your intuition, your truth. This is maturity of the spirit. It allows you to move through uncertainty without losing yourself. It allows you to grow without becoming hardened. Your past has shaped you, but it does not define the limits of your future. Every challenge refined your discernment. Every disappointment taught you to listen more closely to your inner voice. Every moment of doubt led you back to yourself with greater honesty. You did not break under pressure. You evolved. And now, you carry wisdom that cannot be taken from you. There is purpose stirring within you, not as a single destination, but as a way of being. Purpose expresses itself when you act from alignment, when you speak with sincerity, when you choose courage of our comfort. You do not need to search for it endlessly. It reveals itself through presence, through integrity, through the quiet confidence of knowing what matters to you. You are becoming someone who trusts their own experience, someone who no longer waits to be chosen, because they have chosen themselves. This does not make you separate from others, it makes you authentic, and authenticity is what draws the right connections, the right opportunities, the right environments into your life. Growth will continue, but it will no longer feel like constant struggle. It will feel like expansion, challenging, yes, but also invigorating. You will notice moments when you respond differently than you once would have, when old triggers lose their power, when you pause instead of reacting. These moments are signs of integration. They show that your inner work is becoming lived truth. You are allowed to take up space in your own life, to speak clearly, to desire deeply, to move forward without carrying guilt for who you are not. Identity awakening is not about becoming someone new, it is about releasing the need to be anything other than yourself. As you step into this empowered sense of self, remember that strength and softness are not opposites, they coexist beautifully within you. You can be discerning without being closed, confident without being rigid, compassionate without abandoning yourself. This balance is part of your unfolding mastery. Hold this knowing close, beloved. You are not behind, you are not lacking, you are becoming. And the version of you emerging now is not a departure from your past. It is its fulfillment. You have earned this clarity through experience, reflection, and courage. Walk forward with your head held gently high, your heart open, and your spirit grounded. You are allowed to trust who you are becoming. And as you do, the world around you will begin to respond, not because you demanded it, but because you finally allowed yourself to be fully seen. My beloved, let us slow everything down now. Let the noise soften, let the urgency dissolve. You have traveled far within yourself through this message, and it is important that you arrive gently. Nothing here is meant to rush you. What is meant for you will not pass you by. What is calling you will wait for your steady breath, your open heart, your willing step. Take a moment to feel where you are right now, not where you think you should be, not where others expect you to be, but where you truly are. There is nothing wrong with this place. It is holy simply because you are here, listening, present, alive to the quiet truth moving through you. This moment is enough. And from this enoughness, everything else unfolds. I ask you to hold this message not in your thoughts but in your heart. Let it rest there without analysis, without pressure to act immediately. Truth does not need to be chased. When it is real, it settles. It becomes calm. It becomes familiar. You will recognize it in the days ahead when something feels clearer, when a decision feels lighter, when your body exhales instead of tenses. You are not being asked to know every answer. You are being asked to trust the direction of your becoming. Faith in this moment is not belief without doubt. It is movement with doubt still present. It is choosing forward motion, even when certainty has not yet fully arrived. Courage is out loud here. It is quiet, steady, and deeply kind to you. There will be moments after this when fear tries to speak again. When old habits call for your attention. When the comfort of what you know tempts you to forget what you felt. When that happens, return inward. Remember this calm. Remember the clarity that visited you. Remember that you did not imagine this sense of alignment. It found you because you were ready to receive it. You are safe to take the next step, whatever size it may be. You are safe to release what feels complete. You are safe to trust your inner knowing. Protection does not mean absence of challenge, it means presence of support. And support surrounds you now in ways you may not yet fully see. Make a gentle commitment to yourself. Not a rigid promise, not a demand for perfection, but a quiet vow to listen more closely to your truth. To pause when something feels wrong. To move when something feels right. To treat your inner voice as worthy of respect. This commitment alone changes the way life meets you. Let hope return without forcing it. Let trust rebuild without pressure. Let joy approach at its own pace. You do not need to chase peace. It arrives when you stop arguing with what you know, and you know more than you think. As you move forward, carry yourself with compassion. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to grow slowly. Becoming is not a single decision. It is a series of gentle choices made in alignment with your heart. May clarity continue to unfold for you. May courage feel less like effort and more like permission. May your path reveal itself one step at a time, each step firm beneath you. May you feel guided without feeling controlled, supported without feeling small. Stay with this message. Do not dismiss it as coincidence. Do not rush past what stirred within you. Receive this moment as confirmation, as reassurance, as a soft blessing placed into your hands. You are moving, even if the movement is subtle. You are changing, even if the change is quiet. And as you go, know this with certainty, my precious soul, you are deeply seen, gently guided, and lovingly held. What lies ahead is not meant to overwhelm you, it is meant to meet you. Walk forward with trust, walk forward with grace, walk forward knowing you are exactly where you are meant to be, and exactly who you are meant to become.